We have with us Brij Bhushan Agarwal, the VC and MD at Shyam Metalics, joining in at the show right now. Just wanted to understand what your reading is into steel prices, because they've definitely come off from their October highs. Wanted to understand whether or not the cycle has reversed in terms of pricing, or do you sense that this is just a temporary aberration?
Yeah, you're correct. There had been some revisions and correction if you see in the third quarter. But looking forward down the line, I feel this henceforth, with the corrections happening in the EU space, the imposition on the import from China and other countries, and the demand which is now cropping up again in the domestic sector, the market should remain stable. I don't see a very big, I don't see a very big change on the price going very high upward or downward. And with the consistency in the demand down the line, I am pretty optimistic, in the time this quarter should remain a stable price. But yes, surely there will be some pressure from the raw material side, since, there is some disruption on the coal sector, on the supply side and all. But from the demand or the price side, I am pretty optimistic.
Great. Could you tell us a little bit more in detail about what's really happening with demand and whether that continues to be robust and intact?
See, actually, if you see, we are in the long product spaces, and in country overall, if you see the space, the demand in the real estate sector, in the rural development, on the government projects, and see down the line, we have a very important election. This is the election year, March ending, where all the revenues, from the government side, from their treasury side, their budgets on the year allocation, they need to spend. So there is a good penetration on the long product side, I would say now. And since now we are almost, there was some kind of a concern on the pandemic side also, little bit, in the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth quarter. So now things are getting very much stable. The winter is, settling down. So I see the demand is going to be pretty decent.
Wanted to also understand the other dynamic of China's decarbonization, move now, and how that's going to impact the domestic steel industry as well as at a global scale too.
Yeah, very interesting question. But yes, we all know this policy of decarbonization in China is going to affect the production side in China and the supply chain management from China to the overseas market. So this is definitely going to have a positive impact on our country, on the industry in our country, because we will be getting more space, to fill up. And since there will be a constraint on the supply side from China, so this advantage is definitely as a very prominent and important nation to serve steel in the international market. India will play a positive role in this, in the pricing as well as from the industry side.
Agarwal, so I would like to build that point further with you. So when you have decarbonization from China and also China making these noises that it's not looking to export, what is it going to mean for the industry here in India, given the pricing and at the same time the input costs? Can we, for example, expect increase in production, increase in capacity, higher capex plans?
See, if this persists in China, which means that they have to restrict the production line. So the demand on the raw material front is also going to be, very much stable, because the disruption what China is usually very often in the raw material industry in the international market, you beat coking coal or iron ore. So this is one factor where the Indian industry is definitely going to have an edge on the cost side, as well as, as a country, we are not very big. There's not a very big gap of demand and the production. So if a little bit of penetration is there in the international market from the demand side, we really have a good edge on the stability of the prices. And with the time to come, when we are talking from the carbon aspect and all, definitely it has a very larger impact as our country, because we are one of a very dominant player in this industry, and we have a edge. Like when China is taking a back foot, India as a country, participate in taking the front end, meet the international demand.
So, Mr. Agarwal, as a serious industry player, where do you see all of this headed? If you were to even see India, and I'm not talking just about share price, we have underperformed the global peers, right? Are we playing catch up? Do you think the super cycle of the commodities has peaked out, or there is still legs to the rally? And I'm talking about prices here.
See, I would say, as a country, if you see, we are hardly producing steel with the kind of population and all we have. So there is a immense scope of, in the time to come, the demand has to go up and the development has to go up. So I see there is a great space as a country in India, because we are rich in minerals. We are very, we are still a developing nations. A lot of development has to happen. So apart from the prices and rallies are concerned, see, this is completely, I can just discuss on the industry prospect, where I see, if you see the, from last 3 years, the metal industry has been performing very decent. That is not only on the countryside, we are seeing there is a lot of turnaround in the economy on the development side, but globally also, if you see, the steel production has gone up, and the steel consumption has also gone up. So we are seeing worldwide, globally, the development is happening, and in the time to come, uh, I am very optimistic. India is going to play a very vital role, and steel as an industry, as a sector, should perform very decent.
So, but Mr. Agarwal, with everything that, every player comes here and talks to us, they make it sound, yes, we need a lot more, right? And there is great demand. But then channel checks, whether it's with companies, industry, experts, indicates that we will see a fall in steel prices despite input costs going up. Help us understand this. Like in the month of January, also there was speculation that maybe we will see steel prices coming down by 5 to 8%.
No, you are very correct. But you see, as Shyam Metallic, we are majorly in the long product business, and if you see, there is a lot of penetration in the flat product market. But if you see the long product market, we hardly see any kind of a penetration in the imports or any threat from the international market. So in that way, as a company, as an institution, we are very stable on the pricing. Also, if you see all the quarters, our realization and all. So I generally, when I'm looking as steel, I'm looking as my product. And yes, the analyst and all, when they are talking on the global platform, yes, the pressure has been there. We see there has been an immense change in the coking coal market. The prices has been floundering very, uh, and reacting very much from the first to the third quarter. But if you see, as a model of Shyam Metallic, we are very much dependent on the domestic coal. We are not dependent on the coking coal prices. And when I see as a product as Shyam Metallic, we are very much insulated from the threat of any kind of our product damages from the import market. And with the immense development going on in the country and very cost effective model, we always see that we had been able to maintain a very sustainable margin in our product. But yes, down the line, when we are seeing the prices are going to go down, because we are always on the threat from China that they might increase the production on the fourth quarter. But it is again, there's an EU restrictions. The decarbonization policy of the China is also persistent. So we never know, like, how are they going to react on the fourth quarter, or maybe later on the early first quarter of the next year.
Mr. Agarwal, great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time out. We'll let you go on that note.